when I was living back and forth the border between Thailand, Laos, and Cambodia, I'd always get a laugh out of these women who were trying to sleep with me because in whatever vulgar phrase, they'd try to initiate a sexual relationship, and I would say in reply, "Mi po leo." I have enough already. Why is this funny? Because the concept of enough is so slippery when we're talking about human sexuality. See these shoes over my shoulder here? If you ain't got no shoes, if you are barefoot, having just one pair of shoes becomes your top priority. It's the most important thing in the world. And every day you suffer walking around on the stones, scraping up your toes and ankles for the lack of one pair of shoes. But once you have a pair of shoes, how much do you really need a second pair or a third? There's one black pair of shoes back there. I can imagine a circumstance in which it might be inappropriate for me to show up wearing red shoes. I got to go to a funeral. So we'll probably hold on to that black pair of shoes. But I got two pairs of red shoes. All right, those are both good for going to the gym. This week, quite likely, I'm going to throw one of those two pairs of shoes in the garbage. All of our discourse about human sexuality, including pop culture, including music, rock music, country music, rap music, it's always set against this sort of false dichotomy. Right? The depressive incel perspective, the yearning even of someone like Taylor Swift or Beyonce, all these women, even though they've probably never been an incel in their lives, probably never had 6 months without attention from the opposite sex, the exaggerated yearning of someone who is alone and heartbroken, right? Contrasted to the bragging of, for example, a rapper, whoever the vocalist is, whoever the star of the movie is, the bragging of a James Bond figure, just as much as a rapper like DMX, the bragging of having more offers, more women, more men, whatever it is you're into, more than you can possibly deal with. So either you're in the desert or you're drowning. That's what our culture prepares us for, all right? I did turn down the opportunity to have sex with a long list of really beautiful women during my relationship with Melissa. And this video is about the reasons why. I'm just being real. This video is not to help me. This video is not to make me feel better. This video is to help you and you and you. Because as a culture, we don't talk about these things and we don't really think them through. The most fundamental reason why I turned these women down was that I didn't need them. Just like I don't need one more pair of shoes. What did I need? Intellectual companionship, intellectual colleagues above all else. And these beautiful women that were coming at me, they weren't offering me that. All they could offer me in most cases was their body, whether that was for one night or for a 2-week fling. In other cases, they were women who did want a high commitment conventional relationship. But again, they didn't have what it takes intellectually. They didn't have what it takes ethically. So how much more than your body are you really going to offer? Maybe you're offering your body and to do the dishes and the laundry and not a lot else. I got to tell you something about life, folks. There is more to life than sex and dishes and laundry. There is a lot else worth thinking about. I was in Thailand really briefly. This is the most recent trip I made to Thailand and what I presume will be the last trip I make to Thailand in this incarnation. I went to Thailand really briefly to attend a court case, to be a witness, technically, in a court case. A witness against someone else. I was not accused of any crime. And during the very brief period I was in Thailand, I can tell you a minimum of 4 women straight up offered to have sex with me. And when you're talking about white women, because I'll get into it briefly, I had more options if I had made more effort. There was one white woman there in Thailand. So she was a single white European woman, either German or, maybe Danish. I would guess German. Didn't talk to her for that long. And I can tell you straight up, from first sight, first contact, she was trying to get into bed with me. I ain't hating on her. In case some of you in the audience find this difficult to imagine, whether it's because I'm so hideously ugly or what, single white European women who choose to travel to Thailand alone, a lot of them, are looking for a connection with precisely a guy like me. All right? Now, in this case, obviously, 90% of this was just that the particular woman was physically attracted to me. I don't think there was any intellectual depth to this. Maybe she picked up on the fact that I was more sophisticated than the average roughneck, but who knows? This woman was a 10 out of 10 gorgeous. I would guess she was, say, 22. She was young, but not scandalously young. And that's typical, I mean, for the woman who goes on that kind of vacation, like without a boyfriend or anyone else, or, any friends or family with them. And that was a solid offer. I didn't have to do anything to her. And I turned her down. I said no. Why? I knew what Melissa was going through, or I thought I knew at that very time. Melissa was supposedly in the final stage of researching her career and job options before basically confronting her father with what her decision was, where she was going to move, what she was going to study. Now, I was wrong, because Melissa was lying to me and manipulating me, and it was very, very powerfully tied to the cheating, the infidelity she was engaged in behind my back. While I was out of town, that wasn't what she was dealing with. That wasn't what she was working with. But that's unbeknownst to me. My priority at that time was I didn't want to do anything that would upset Melissa even slightly. I wanted to be supportive. And for me to even say to her, it would have been completely within the rules of the open relationship. For me to even say to her, hey, look, I met this great person, met this white woman on vacation here, and she was interested in the history of Buddhism, and she's interested in the history of Thai politics. We have this conversation, and she wants to come back to my apartment and have sex with me, and here's how it went. And that, in theory, you could be friends for life, but it could be a one-night stand, or it could be a two-night or three-night stand. Okay, so that was directly on the table with that specific woman I was only in Thailand for a couple of days. And I can tell you from experience, because I used to live in Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, there were other white women I could have taken the conversation at that point with a little bit of effort, but that is effort I never made on that trip. My world revolved around Melissa and my concern with what was best for her. Okay? That's how I lived my life. It was a polyamorous relationship. It was an open relationship. I did have the opportunity and freedom to pursue sex with other women. But why? When you already have enough shoes, okay, why would you be motivated to go out and get more? There is a kind of redundancy, and it's very important to recognize that's part of Melissa's story too. That's why right out of the gate, when we started talking about this scandal, I was emphasizing that she and I were having so much sex. She was just having so many orgasms per day and per week. How is this possible? It's baffling. And even though there were periods of time when the sex in the relationship was bad or when it wasn't enough because she was going crazy and lying to me and cheating on me and these other things, still, I knew with absolute certainty how great the sex could be and that we could get back there anytime. It's very different from being in a situation in which you don't have enough sex, don't have enough love, you don't have enough people who care about you, who really deeply care about you, or you don't have enough people who are intellectually engaged with what your aspirations in life, really connected to your ambitions intellectually, and someone who's really on the same page with you ethically. So I had all that and more in my relationship with Melissa. So why risk it? Why fuck it? And thing two is, I was always aware of the fragility of all the other people involved. And that's not just Melissa's fragility. I have the experience of sleeping with a woman, and the first night we sleep together, she wants to get married to me, she wants to have my baby, she swept me. That has happened to me again and again and again. I don't go into a one-night stand with a woman thinking this woman is going to regard me as disposable and interchangeable with some other man or any other man. It's not my experience. I have to go into even a one-night stand, even a short-term, shallow relationship, a woman who meets me at the gym, a woman who meets me at the airport. I mean, women fucking everywhere, it doesn't matter. A woman who thinks she's only connecting with me in the shallowest way because she likes my appearance, or more often she likes the sound of my voice, she likes my charisma, she likes the kind of intellectual sophistication she sees in my eyes. A woman who connects to me on that level and she goes into it thinking I'm disposable, I'm easily replaceable, it's just a one-night stand. She can come back to me anytime, not necessarily the next day or the next month, the next year, and say to me, baby, you're irreplaceable. I realize now how much you mean to me. I want you in my life, etc. Okay? The original sexually transmitted disease is love. Sex is dangerous because people fall in love, and that's a very real instinct. It's a very real feeling. It's not an abstraction, and we fall in love so that we will form permanent bonds of community so that we will not just raise children, but be members of a tribe together. People who sleep together in the same tent, watch over each other, take care of each other, fight our enemies together, work to survive together, okay? That's the biological reality of love. And when you're living the life of the mind, when you're trying to be an intellectual with ambitions to make the world a better place, it only makes all the people involved, not just me and Melissa, but the other woman or women, more fragile, more susceptible to being swept up in that maelstrom. The last thing on my mind, the least of my concerns, sexually transmitted disease or accidental pregnancy. That's never been my reason for being careful. I'm worried about everyone involved falling in love or exciting feelings of jealousy and competition that can lead to something that's a deadly mix of love and hatred.